Namaste. As always, we'll give everyone some time to collect, for this group to kind of coagulate and find its cohesiveness today. You know, it's an interesting way to look at it as each day it's a slightly different group, right? Like there's some absolute regulars, and then of course there's somebody new that stumbles. Good morning, Judith. Of course, you know, there'll be always somebody new stumbling onto this little team, this little tribe, this little group gathering, right? Because it's public, right? It's out there. So it's a very interesting way to look at us coming together, but it's different every single day, right? Because there's always somebody new tuning in. It's kind of neat. We'll give ourselves, 2, 3, 4 more minutes. Hello, world. Yes, absolutely. Hello, world. Yesterday, during the asana, the physical practice of yoga, I said, you know, it just kind of came through to me, like, hear Om as a hello, right? That we're saying hello to the world, right? This new dynamic, this new way of connecting. Good morning. We'll get going in a couple minutes. So yeah, it's a really nice way to look at, you know, the collective, the group that gather each day, right? It's definitely full of consistency and regulars, you know. Thank you for that. But there's always somebody new tuning in because this is so incredibly public, right? And that's really neat, that the collective is always shifting. The group is always changing slightly, and you know, even though I can't really see you guys and it's just a name that scrolls by, like I feel your energy, and this is just as much about your energy and you being part of the collective experience as it is me, you know, giving it, right? I'm just holding space for us to experience it together. So once again, as the group is different every day, just like in a yoga practice, right? The people in the room, it's really never going to be the same people each day, right? You make up the collective today, and like your energy matters, right? Your willingness to sit with us really matters. Okay. Take a moment, find your way into a seat that works for you today. Sometimes we don't know until we get there. We really need to kind of move the body around in it. Let us tune in. And breathe in. moment of gratitude. Perhaps it includes this opportunity for us to gather, for us to come together, for us to be alone together. Namaste. I was saying as we were killing time, if you will, before we began, that yesterday during the asana, the physical form of practice, I said, let's think of the ohms as a hello, right? It's like, hello out there, hello world, like, hey, I know you're there, right? And here we are together, right? It's kind of a nice time to give a kind of cosmic hello, right? As we all feel so incredibly isolated, right? So, I love this time of year, as I'm sure so many do, particularly those on the East Coast that really experience 4 seasons, right? And us coming out of the dormancy of winter, which can often appear to last for a very long time, the kind of frozenness of Earth. Like we kind of have a cerebral understanding that life exists underneath the tundra, if you will, but while we're living in that state of season, it kind of feels like it goes on for a very long time, that winter appears to be with us for a very long time, and within that, a state of dormancy, as if the nature is sleeping, and nature is sleeping under the frozen ice, if you will. And then all of a sudden, things start to change. And what I love about this particular time of year is we can really witness the change. All we have to do is walk outside and we see the shift in the grass coming up, or from the flowers going to the first crocus, to the daffodil, to the tulips now, right? And the trees. I'm particularly excited and very interested, paying attention to what is happening with the trees, particularly, like I said, on the eastern coast right now. And I have a maple in front of my house, and the beginning of it, of course, is just like the tiniest peak of green submerging from that kind of dry, brittle, leftover from winter, right? Twig. And then, that turns to this like fuzzy yellow thing, and then this kind of pea green shade, and then a little bit of red comes through. And like now, when I went outside today, that maple in front of my house is like full bloom. Like those leaves are just out in that gorgeous, like purpley reddish green. Like you can't really define it as one color, right? This kind of glom. So what I love about this time of year is that transformation is extremely apparent to the naked eye. We're getting hit with it 24/7 when we are in observance outside. Unlike winter, where things seem to just stay the same for a while, right? And we're really witnessing a state of growth, a state of progress, a state of transformation. And nature is one of our greatest guides, right? We don't have to be full-blown yogis, right? We don't have to be on a spiritual path, just as people walking this earth, as people that are participating in planet life, right? We look outside and we see the tree, and today it looks different than it did yesterday, right? So we want to give the attention to the self the same way, right? We want to address the self the same way and be able to give license, to be able to give permission for transformation, right? We have to really pay attention that we're not in the state of being frozen any longer, right? And it's really easy to stay in the state of being frozen, to kind of clench, to lock down, to kind of have everything way underneath, way under the surface, just kind of sleeping. When we're in something that we don't like, right? And this crisis, none of us like it. So we must be very watchful that we don't have such a clamp down on our existence, that we must watch that we're suppressing, that we're not suppressing transformation, growth, right? This is a time of rebirth, right? And, it sounds kind of, cliche, and we've all heard it before, that's, spring awakening, blah, blah, blah. But to really, really witness it with your eye, and then realize that as you witness it happening naturally outside you, that you can have that same experience with yourself. That this can be this crisis can be an incredible opportunity for rebirth. Like, we do not have to stay in the suppression. We do not have to stay with the old structure, right? That structure is gone, right? We all know now, especially now that our part of the country here over on the East Coast in New York State, we're in phase 1, yay. But it's also schooling us into the reality. We're being schooled into the reality that this is not going to be over quickly, that our lives have changed dramatically. And as these phases get released, we will have to walk life in a new way, right? Like kind of the projection of seeing us going into a restaurant. Before we go into a restaurant, there's a chance we will have to have our temperature taken. We will be served by people with masks and gloves on. We will not be surrounded by other beings. There will be plenty of space. So the whole experience of living is changing for us dramatically. And it's going to be that way for a while, The norm will eventually be extremely different. Like, we don't even know what it is yet, but we know it's going to be different from what it is. So why not join that experience and let ourselves be different, right? Let ourselves transform. Let ourselves have a rebirth. Let ourselves go through many different phases, many different cycles, many different shades, many different textures, right? The texture of who you are, right? So that we're really choosing to live, right? Life continues, right? Growth continues during this process. We don't want to place ourselves in this kind of like holding pattern of dormancy. We don't want to continue to live the winter of our existence. I don't think we do anyway. I said we, but hopefully not, right? So we got to pay attention. We got to pay attention to how we have already grown, how we have already strengthened, and that we are not the same. We're not the same people we were 2 months ago, 3 months ago, right? How could we be? So we have to, kind of healthily acknowledge that we have the ability to have transformation because we are natural beings. And how else can that keep occurring? So that we can walk this new life together as new beings, right? Nothing is the same. And sometimes that feels scary because we're holding so tightly to what we want it to be. But what we want it to be is gone. But we have it within us as natural creatures to transform into rebirth into something new. Into something new. And when we become a little insecure or afraid, we just look outside and say, it happens every season, right? There's no force here. There's no repression here. It's just cycling through. So we can do that too, right? We can cycle through this and come out of it anew, right? We are brand new beings right now. Just one more quick thing. So in yoga, in the practice of yoga, that guy behind my head, behind my big ponytail head, is Shiva. Shiva is kind of the symbol of yoga, but really more specifically transformation. So one way we could translate the word yoga is transformation. So those of you that happen to have a yoga practice, and of course this is for everyone, you certainly, what I love most about these experiences that are so global now, the way we can connect is, you know, we can crack the mold on what we think yoga is. And it doesn't have to involve a mat or yoga pants, right? It's just how you have a relationship with life, right? How you, I think I put on the Facebook wall today, post today, reconcile with life, like harmonize, have a relationship, harmonize with the life that is occurring right now, which is all about change. We don't like the change, but nonetheless it's change. And we remind ourselves, this guy here helps to kind of check in with the marbles of the mind, like move the body, move the mind in such a way that you witness transformation, change occurs within you. Because sometimes we forget, because we like things to stay the same. We forget that we have the tools, the navigating ability to change as the world is changing, right? And we don't want to be left behind in such a way that we're just living in the winter of our existence, just frozen and stuck in time, right? Okay. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Again. One more. When you feel ready, start to settle. Sense the body sinking. Sense the body heavying. Sense the body having relationship to gravity, right? That natural occurrence. And maybe your mind can start to come into the body so that you feel the mind beginning to settle. You know, if the chatter is still there, just so be it. You know, work with what's there right now. And sometimes softening can really assist us in the settling process, with the calming. And as you sense the body having relationship to gravity, right, this natural occurrence, maybe the mind can kind of plummet into the body. Just slowly begin to open up through the waist. Make a little room in your midsection. A little room to breathe, right? We all need room to breathe right now. Maybe we can experience some width across the chest cavity, freeing the lungs and the heart. Once again, some room to breathe. Always feel free to move during these experiences if you feel a little tight or stuck. Right? And reminding yourself you are a free being, cycling through your existence. Maybe your arms can get a little heavier. This might facilitate a drop of the shoulders. a dropping of some tension, a dropping of some hold, right? Life often can have a hold on us in such a way that we are holding. We are holding the problems and the concerns, right? We just want to see if we can just release some of those guys a little bit. Bring your attention into your face. Just give yourself a few moments to energetically wash it, releasing through the hairline and the scalp, de-scrunching through the brow, letting those lids get really heavy, the space behind the eyes gets soft. A reminder that when we close our eyes, it's just a way to create some intimacy, right? We're not shutting the world out. We're not freezing in time. We're staying open. And then we just notice the breath. We just notice that we are living, breathing beings. And as we notice the breath, the most obvious thing about it is that it moves. That as we inhale, the belly goes forward. And as we exhale, the belly comes in. And this is a natural occurrence, right? We don't have to force it, we just have to watch it as it happens. And then maybe we can take that breath in the lower belly and ask it to slide up the spine on the inhale and glide it down the spine on the exhale. Maybe for a few moments we can watch the transit, this healthy transit of breath. This act of moving. Moving is the sign of transformation. And all we're doing is witnessing it happening inside. And maybe we couple that witnessing of the movement of our breath with our willingness to take part in change as it occurs naturally. And if that feels too much for you, if you're really in that place of you want everything to stay the same, honor it. It's yours to have. Consider embracing this time of rebirth and regrowth as best you can. Preparing for the daily lung strengthening exercise together. Empty the breath from the underbelly. And breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Retain. And breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Retain. Release the lock of the underbelly, letting your breath go, letting your breath flow. Move your body freely. You're just witnessing motion inside. Something is moving within, right? Moving your way toward your own very personal, transformative experience that has really been gifted to you through this crisis, right? As the world changes, our lives change, right? We change, right? And, letting go of the hold on what we prefer, what we like, what we want, and really just going with it in such a way that we're having a cohesive experience with life as we now know it. We are reconciling, we are harmonizing with these shifts as they occur naturally. And open your eyes and your arms in front of you. Scoop to the chest as you inhale. Press it forward, exhale. Scoop it in, inhale. Press it out, exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Scoop it in. Hands to the heart. Breathe in. Namaste. Namaste. So I was saying earlier when we were kind of killing time waiting for folks to show up, I was saying in class that yesterday during the physical practice, like the Om can serve as a hello, right? Hello. Hello everyone, right? Hello world. Hello world, as we all attempt with as much grace and ease as possible to change, along with it in this very, very dramatic and trying time. And we're doing it together, right? We're doing it together. And I think, just to sum up and kind of tie it in a bow so we have something to part with, it's like we have the ability to do it because we are natural beings, right? Just as the tree is, right? As we watch the tree transform from those tiny, tiny little buds to the middle stage of kind of the fuzziness and then the full-blown leaf, right? Like that happens so miraculously. And we have that ability inside ourselves to change along with this experience as it is clearly changing us, right? So we always have the choice to kind of resist and hold back on what's occurring naturally, or just to kind of succumb and surrender and to allow ourselves to be moved into a new form of us, right? When this crisis is eventually over in a year or two, or however long it takes, that if we go along with it with less resistance, we will birth from it more greatly. I kind of wish we didn't have to like stop and go over to Zoom for the physical practice, because I don't want it ever to appear to be something different, right? When I offer these classes at the studio, this opening centering, this little speech or whatever it is in the beginning that I offer, and then the breath work and the centering, that just ushers us into the next phase of the practice. The physical practice just puts into motion everything that we do right here and now. It's a way to help us kind of navigate through life, because we're moving, right? So if any of you feel moved to join me in a few minutes, we'll click off of here and click on to Zoom. Have the best day you can have, right? Let's send it out. So this offering, very kind of confidently from what you receive and from what you have, and from, we always have something to give, right? May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with an easy heart. Namaste.